All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.210. And we got a lot to talk about this week. We are going to start with headlines where we got Messi, MLS, US Open Cup, soccer, USL, and TST 7v7. So basically all of the US genres of soccer. Weekly What If, we're going to talk about ticket refunds. Premier League, Arsenal's title path, perhaps. Arsenal versus recent Liverpool teams and who is going to get sent down this year. Rest of World Championship madness, Champions League preview, and MLS's Bloody Monday. Finally, stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, Goas. Now it's time to welcome in these beauties here with me, this distinguished panel of beauties. We got some travel and coaching related absences, but first, among the stunningly attractive and intelligent participants this week, we got Tweedle A, Mikey Fowler, aka Mikey Podcast. And as this podcast's single biggest fan, if not proponent, of Frank Ocean, what do you have to say for yourself after his recent performance at Coachella?
If you're a Frank Ocean fan for the fan service, then you're in the wrong industry. I'll tell you that right now. If you're going to support an artist who only puts out 2 albums in 12 years and hang your hat on him, you're going to expect some irreverence. And if you're bitching about it, then you don't understand him. Shut up.
Okay, fair. Best defense is good offense.
And that's because I decided not to go out there and like I was very close, dangerously close to last minute pulling tickets, and that's the only reason I have this take, honestly.
Yeah, in which case your response would have been a whole lot different.
Oh, I would have fucking been, yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
All right. Next up, we got Tweedle B, Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, who teased the fact that he has developed, or you have developed, some extremely strong opinions about David Guetta.
Oh no. Oh no.
So, number one, where did these strong opinions come from?
They came from listening to David Guetta, idiot. David Guetta, I find to be talentless and made most of his name off the back of melodies of others. I don't feel as if there's a whole lot of his own intellectual property in his music. In fact, I think he uses the choruses of previously established songs to gain his own beats notoriety, and they're not inspired beats. They're really just basic shit. And I didn't think the world was ready for those kind of takes, and clearly not. I had DJ friends in my mentions being like, choose your words carefully.
Whoa.
So, yeah, no, apparently there's stronger feelings on the other side of the David Guetta argument. So David's people, get after me.
I love it. All right, we got some strong takes there. On David Guetta or Guetta, however you want to pronounce it.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah. Listen, whatever. My music is not my strong suit.
Is the three of us Sam's Army After Dark where we can take shots at you? Is this
Yeah, absolutely. The shots are always acceptable. You know, when I say Sam's Army to After Dark, that's not for for taking shots necessarily. You can do that at any time, any place, any platform. That's for the stuff that are maybe shouldn't be on air. Just a little bit too much, a little bit too dangerous.
Well, when there's only 3 people, I feel like I can get more jokes off. So
you can keep them coming. Keep them coming. Better. Yeah. All right, let's start with headlines. So PSG announced that Messi has been suspended for 2 weeks after taking an unauthorized trip to Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of back and forth about whether Messi was really at fault for this, like whether it was a miscommunication, blah blah blah. I don't know where to come down on that. There is the interesting backdrop, though, that there's a lot of rumors floating around that Messi may be thinking about joining Ronnie in Saudi Arabia next season. So the fact that there's a two-week suspension without pay, by the way, which is I think an important side note. It suggests that the relationship with Messi may be sort of breaking down. So, Mikey, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it changes the calculus of where Messi is going to play next season?
Well, he certainly doesn't take well to being told things or being disciplined or having any feedback whatsoever. I think if he had it his way, he would have entire structural control over Barcelona Football Club. I think everyone knows that that's what he thinks is the best option for him in his career. I think he, by leaving there, admitted that that was not going to be achievable at the current state. Went to PSG, a club that I think he looked at as the biggest one he could possibly single-handedly monopolize. And now that hasn't worked out, I think he's going to move down the chain a little bit and try to dominate another club. So I do think this signals the end of him at Paris Saint-Germain. I think his goal has always been full control. And this is an indication that they're not going to play ball with that. So, yeah.
Interesting. Do you see it Saudi Arabia?
I don't see Saudi Arabia. I think Inter Miami or something like that makes most sense.
Okay. I like that take. That's what I'm rooting for. Mitch, what do you think on this?
I echo the control thing. The length of the suspension is crazy to me. To suspend the best player ever for 2 weeks for missing training is just it's a number that almost feels unreal, given I suppose I'm comparing it to American sports suspensions where, guys will punch somebody and get a game off or something. I don't know. 2 weeks just seems crazy, and without pay, what's he going to do without all? He needs.
That's a really good point.
He depends on that. That's taking away that's a 2 week. That's a bi-weekly paycheck. Taking that away, you can't do that in these times.
In this economy, yeah, I hear you.
2 weeks is like. It's almost just so it's fictitious. It doesn't mean anything. Like if your star player really said it wasn't on purpose, why would that ever be a suspension? Like there has to be no communication there.
There's clearly stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's not a real number.
And let's keep in mind, the season for PSG, for the most part, is done. I know that they haven't wrapped up the league yet, but they're out of Champions League and all this stuff. So it's just interesting. Obviously, I think it suggests that as Mikey said, the relationship, if not over, is getting towards the end, and I think he's got to move on.
It feels weird that PSG's management and coaching staff want to pull further away. Like this feels like a power play from them as opposed to trying to make things work. And I understand that given what they've been through, and if they're truly just at odds, then they're going to do what they're going to do. But it does feel definitive. Like, all right, this is it. We're going our separate ways.
Yeah. And listen, given the control that Mbappe had, is this maybe Mbappe saying, bye-bye? That's enough.
Subliminally, maybe. I don't think that's in writing anywhere or in any emails or texts, but it could be. Yeah, it could be him saying, hey, this is my house. I don't want anybody else having control over it.
Well, something to keep in mind. We'll see where he goes. Hopefully it's Inter Miami. God damn, that'd be awesome. All right. So Matteo Alemany, who was the director of football at Barcelona. So he announced his intention to leave. And almost immediately, there was a lot of rumors about him sort of popping up in a very similar role, sporting director at Aston Villa, of all places, which is really interesting. I think that has not been made official. And in fact, some of those, sources have sort of backed off on that. But it does sound like his relationship with Xavi obviously is not great. But the conclusions that I can draw, number one, obviously the situation at Barcelona behind the scenes with all the financial irregularities and all this stuff, obviously there's some issues there. And number two, whether if he doesn't end up at Aston Villa, this is me just reading tea leaves that aren't actually there, but it just sort of is an indication of how strong the Premier League is and how much money and how much draw and pull, the league has. If he leaves Barcelona to go to Aston Villa, that would be a good move a great grab, coup by Aston Villa. But I don't think we have to go further into that. I just thought it was an interesting move if it happens. Next up, MLS is apparently on the verge of unveiling team number 30. And after some murmurings about perhaps, Las Vegas, sounds like the Big Jays have come to the formal conclusion that the next MLS city to get a team is going to be San Diego. So, Mitch, what do you think on that? You like it? Are there cities you would have preferred to hear?
There's already the San Diego Loyal. It feels real weird to expand into that market, but I get it. That's a massive, massive city. Apart from Vegas, it's the biggest one that was on that list that feels real for expansion. I think we need to 30 is a good number. Let's cap it and start promotion relegation. We can't be going like 32, 34 teams. It's just gonna get to be too much. Let's go promotion relegation at 30. Can we all promise, please, guys?
I like the thoughts. I like the thought process, but
Not
that is
happen.
absolutely not going to happen. We're already I think they already have plans for 32, 34, and God knows how much further than that. Mikey, thoughts on San Diego or where they should have gone?
Obviously amazing to have it in San Diego. It's the best American city to showcase. And I really truly believe putting an MLS product there will be responded to well. I've had a weird thought about where they should put an expansion team for a while. I'm not sure what the relationship truly is between the Crafts and Major League Soccer, whether Major League Soccer wants them to build a soccer-specific stadium. But I have always thought that the MLS, in a show of discontent, if they so please, should expand to Boston, Massachusetts specifically, and have a Boston club to also rival New England. If Kraft's not going to do it, the MLS should force the hand and put a club there themselves.
Wow.
It's been too long that the New England Revolution have been an hour outside of Boston, hour and a half with traffic. It sucks. Every other major market reps their city. Inter Miami's stadium in their city. NYCFC is in Yankee Stadium. New York Red Bulls over in Jersey, but like they're close enough to where they can be considered part of the city. Foxborough is not even close to Boston, and while it does encompass the whole like New England, you still see the majority of the fan base in Massachusetts and hyper specific in Boston. I think it would do wonders for the already successful title town we got going.
That'd be a real FU to one of the original sort of owners of MLS. I don't know if Garber's got that.
It's a disgrace there isn't a soccer-specific stadium in Boston. That's my thoughts.
That part I do agree with there. Although you mentioned Miami. Aren't they in Fort Lauderdale right now?
Are they?
Aren't they? I'm pretty sure they're in Fort Lauderdale. I know they're building.
45 minutes. You could drive there. You can get an Uber there if you're drunk. That's how close it is.
Well, they're also trying. They've been really trying.
That's why Harrison counts.
Harrison, another one. Good point. All right, so we'll stick with U.S. soccer here. So speaking of Don Garber, he used a U.S. soccer board meeting as the platform for taking a massive dump on the U.S. Open Cup this past week. So he basically called it out for, being played on shitty fields in front of tiny crowds. And he said, the broadcasting deal is bad. Obviously the instinctive reaction from a lot of people on Twitter who hate everybody and everything, especially the commissioner of MLS, was to basically just, react to it like, fuck that, this is, who does he think he is? But I was listening, or I sort of read about his comments. I was like, what did he say that was so bad? Like, he's saying that the product on the field is not up to what he thinks it should be. And I think he's right. Like, the broadcast deal, this thing with the YouTube and everything, like, I just simply don't understand it. And not that I'm very smart, but I think a lot of people probably fall in the same category as me. We're not watching it because we don't, like, ESPN Plus was so easy. And I watched so many games. And now it's like, how do you watch it? Can you watch it? I have no idea. The other thing, the purse, $300,000 goes to the winner. You know how much of a joke that is? Absolute. That's it.
Half of Holland's weekly wage.
Yeah, that's it. Just a complete joke. Obviously, that's a ton of money to, a USL League One team, or even probably USL Championship. But like to an MLS team, that is absolutely nothing. So of course they're not going to prioritize it, or basically prioritize it. They're gonna put their B team out there every chance they get. So yeah, there's little things that could fix this, right? They could have not fix everything, but little steps they could make. Number one, I've seen a lot of people suggest that the lower level teams should have the option, if they want, to host, which would be really cool. That would, number one, that would bring it would just sort of, the ambiance in the stadium would be much better. That obviously wouldn't necessarily fix the shitty fields problem.
Probably wouldn't.
Yeah. So there's obviously going to be issues all around there, but I don't know, what was your reaction to this pitch?
I like what you said. I really agree with you. There's nothing that he said that was completely out of pocket. I think reflexively, when comments like that come from the commissioner of anything, it
Yeah.
feels like that person's punching down onto a competition that is kind of below them. But he's right. Like, it's the product is different than last year. I agree with you. The ESPN Plus, the streaming made it so much easier. It's all in one place. Everything was there. And nowadays old people like yourself can't really figure out how to turn it on, and it's confusing. It gets people frustrated. But yeah, no, you're right. I agree. There's nothing that he said that was incorrect.
Sam's Army After Dark. Keep the shots coming. Mikey, what do you got?
There is no progress without somebody speaking up like that. Keep running a shit product back. What is a commissioner if not somebody to keep you held to a high standard, right? If he's not happy with it and he's being fucking paid by it, then I'm sure other people are not happy with it either and don't have a platform to speak out for it. So it's very typical for people to jump on to a commissioner making a critical statement, because you can spin that around and be like, well, you don't do XYZ or whatever. But I'm happy with anybody complaining about something that they genuinely feel is not up to the standard that they want reflected in it. So good for him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it basically comes down to U.S. soccer has to invest.
Yeah.
More, period.
If you're one of those people who gets mad that somebody wants your league to be better, or if you're consider yourself such a big fan that you have a strong enough take on Don Garber's fucking statements on the U.S. Open Cup, then you're already like contradicting yourself. If you care about the product and are upset about this, then you find yourself in a rare camp of hypocritical idiots. So
there we go. Keep the hot takes coming. We're gonna stay here in the US. USL hired Paul McDonough as president and chief soccer officer. So if the name is familiar, that is not a big surprise. So he was the guy that was suspended by MLS. I think he was the technical director or sporting director at Inter Miami several years ago when all that Blaise Matuidi stuff went down.
Oh,
and like they had just had too many, basically had like 5 DPs on the roster essentially. And so he left the club at some point and joined Falcons FC in 2021, and then he ended up leaving that somewhat soon after because the suspension was handed down. So MLS basically suspended him from operate. He couldn't participate in MLS, I think, through 2022 or into 2022. So he is now the head guy at USL, which everybody knows is basically the biggest competition that MLS has. Very interesting move, very interesting hire. I'll say this about Paul McDonough. I don't know him. Like, I don't know anything about him. I know about that sort of Blaise Matuidi stuff. Obviously, Inter Miami, and I assume he was involved with the decision to try and bring Matuidi in. I got to question that, just based on the fact that Matuidi came over here and was dog shit. But the fact that his ambition, his goals were to make Inter Miami the best team it could be, I don't really fault him for that. I know that the MLS has all these Byzantine rules about how you can spend money, when you can spend money, where you can spend it on. And the fact that he was trying to just make a really good team, I don't necessarily fault him that much. Obviously, breaking the rules is breaking the rules, and that's not good. But there's an element of what he did. There's okay, this guy obviously has lofty goals and big ambitions. And the fact is that USL needs to have that kind of person at the head of it, right? I mean, we get the promotion relegation. Maybe we'll see whether that actually has the kind of uplifting impact on the league that everybody on Twitter, all the pro rel Nazis, say that it instantaneously will make the world a better place. USL needs that kind of sort of forward thinking, big goals, big thoughts. Now the rule breaking part, that part is not great, but I can see sort of some positives this hire.
Gotta crack a couple eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that short period where Didier Drogba was in USL? It felt like a fever dream, but he was scoring a goal a game and he was fun. More of that, maybe? Is that in the cards? Aggressive.
Yeah.
moves like that, I'm into it.
More Drogba. I think that overlapped with the dollar beer night with Phoenix Rising, where they they were like undefeated for like
That's
18.
a recipe for a game right there. Didier
Right?
Drogba
For
and
a
a dollar
game,
beer.
that's a
Let's
recipe
go.
for a
Oh
weekend.
my
right
God,
there.
that would be. I would say yes so fast your head would spin if you invited me to see Drogba on dollar beer night.
Oh,
That's what I mean. Ticket prices would skyrocket.
Oh, I was thinking about taking a flight out to Phoenix just to
Demand is through the roof for that.
Exactly. So that. Listen, we need USL to be a real competitor for MLS, and so if this guy has the kind of big ideas and ambition to do that, that's the risk, right? Hopefully
not a risk.
Hopefully we don't get the Fire Fest of soccer leagues out of this. Any other thoughts, Mikey?
No, I'm good.
All right, last, definitely not least, the soccer tournament. TST 7v7 group stage has been drawn. The big winners are basically everybody who avoided Group G. That includes, let's see, we got Dortmund, Wolves, Newcastle, U.S. Women's National Team, West Ham, Como, who will have Cesc Fabregas, by the way, Mikey. Charlotte, actually, Mitch, I know you're a Fabregas guy too. Charlotte FC is in the tournament. You guys all, especially Wrexham. I don't know. We wanted Wrexham. I know that Mike McGee, if he didn't say it publicly, I know that he really wanted Wrexham. I was saying it publicly. I think Rob and Ryan probably threw some money down to avoid us. I would like to know how much money it was. That's all I'm asking. I feel like that's not too much to ask.
You and your fund can match it. Money they paid you to root for them.
Listen, it just means that we'll beat them in the knockouts when the lights are brighter. So that just sucks.
Are you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if I'm gonna get out there, I'm thinking about ways that I can actually play this. How should I go about it? I've actually thought about trying to beat Nick Raimondo out for goalkeeper one. See how that works.
That won't work.
Yeah, probably not. But it'll be fun content. Yeah, I'm just excited. I think this is an awesome concept. Our group is with Team Dempsey. So Clint Dempsey, obviously, Zala FFF, which is a team, AJ De La Garza, former Galaxy player, bunch of guys, Mikey Ambrose, I think, is on that team, bunch of guys that people have probably heard of. And then the fourth team in the group, Jackson Boom, who I don't really know much about. I assume they're a bunch of young kids, which is an aspect I don't like that at all. Put me out there with some like old pros that are maybe slowing down a little bit. Yeah, give me that. I don't want these fucking 22-year-olds fucking running.
7v7 is a different game, my friend. I don't know if you want that.
Well, listen, I play 7v7
I know, but pros and sevens, old pros and sevens are fucking monsters.
Fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
2 of your touches is one of theirs.
Good luck winning a duel against AJ De La Garza. That'll be fun.
Listen, it'll be.
I'm looking forward to seeing you play. I'm going to be there hosting content for soccer.com. I'll be there the whole tournament.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
where is this and when? Sorry for the audience. I obviously know.
This is May 31st to June 5th ish.
Yeah, something like that in Cary, North Carolina. So and they got a whole group of like North Carolina teams, Charlotte FC and some other ones. It's actually, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool. I'll be honest. I'm really excited. A little nervous if you really put, a gun to my head, but no, it ought to be a lot of fun. Our team, but I think I've already said this on the program, but like our team is like stacked, right? I'm not going to be asked to carry much of the load here. We got like Mike McGee, Jay Demerit. I won't even name check everybody because I'll forget everybody. But they're all
for Jay Demerit. If you
big
could ask.
players. Yeah. What's the
ask
question?
If he's aware of Ryan Malone's journey.
I wonder. Okay, yeah, I know enough about Ryan Malone that I could actually ask him that. So I will. I bet he is.
They're the same path, and like I'm wondering if he's been keeping an eye on that.
All right, I'll ask him. Yeah, I mean, like this team that I'm playing on, they got a bunch of guys. Like, so not only do they got former pros that are like top of the line. I think Landon Donovan is supposed to be there for it, but also they've got like guys that still play that are like I think Nick Pereira is one. He's like the best player in the Arena League. Chad Vandergriff, I think he still plays in the Arena. So like they got guys that are still at the top of their game. So there's, needless to say, I'm not going to be carrying the load. Leave it at that. All right, we will go to weekly what if. So this stems from the situation a couple weeks ago where Tottenham players offered to refund fans tickets after getting their asses handed to them by Newcastle. So it just got me thinking, what if this sort of thing became codified as part of the fan experience, right? So we're talking about, bear with me on this. I know Mitch has already got it. His wheels are turning. So in this hypothetical universe, what if fans were refunded a certain amount if they go to a game and, they buy a ticket and go to a game and their team gets their doors blown off? Like, let's say 4. You got to lose by 4+ goals. If that happens, you get a refund, a certain percentage of your ticket. But at the same time, if your team wins and blows the doors off the opponent, so it improves your fan experience and the amount of enjoyment you get. Say you win by 4+ goals, you then get charged extra, same percentage. What are your thoughts on this, Mitch? Love it or hate it?
Have you fleshed this idea out?
Nope, absolutely not. I just wrote it down and I was like, we're running with it.
Yep, I can tell. I think if this absolutely asinine idea were to ever go into practice, it would have to be on a spectrum. So it would matter if you lost by 1 goal, 2 goals, 3, 4, and furthermore, and that there would be different amounts that your ticket was either deducted or marked up based on the score of the game. That being said, that's fucking ridiculous. So I'm so off board it hurts. But I am curious as to where your mind is at this. What makes you think this is a question that is worth conversation?
Well, basically it comes down to the fact that I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I kind of like that.
You would pay more. You willingly pay more. Spurs.
Yes. Think about how much better my life would be if I was going to a North London derby, right?
Yeah.
Tottenham versus Arsenal, and we beat Arsenal. But I don't agree with the 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goal, and stepped up amounts for that. I think it's got to be an absolute ass kicking that you don't see a lot of. Not like on an annual, on a weekly basis, right? You lose by 1 goal, you lose by 2 goals. Just one of these historic, epic ass whoopings.
So it's margin. It's not like Forest and Southampton today. I'm sorry.
I have a way, 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 way better way to do this.
So yeah, there's definitely going to be some better iterations of this. This is fan experience improvement 1.0. There's definitely some ways to do this that are going to be better. And yes, the element where you got like a Leeds going up against a Man City, that's I don't know how we can work with that. But but a Tottenham versus Newcastle or a Tottenham versus Arsenal, if you go up there and, win by 4 or lose by 4, my life has been significantly improved or, hurt by the experience of it. And I kind of like the element of, they pay me back. So
let's call 3-goal differential a bad game, 4-goal a blowout.
Yeah, that's sort of where I put the line too.
Fair. How much is your ticket marked up if your team blows the doors off the other team? Are we talking 20%?
Yeah, I was thinking, 25, 30%.
Oof. I wouldn't want. Say you're up 3-0. Everybody in the stands no, don't score
against them.
Yeah, nobody.
Listen, I know there's a lot of unintended consequences here. I know that.
And that's picturing a kid on a date whose account's going to overdraft if he fucking they score again.
That's true too. I actually thought of that one. So I was like, well,
two things from my perspective. One, this is just Corn Dog's bit from Semi-Pro where he can't afford it and he's hoping something doesn't happen. Second, I had a thought while you were talking about doing this. This could really be a thing. I could see this being a thing. If a team asks you to purchase, no, not your thing. If a team asks you to purchase a season ticket and you are already on the hook for the season ticket, and however many points and or goal differential they finish with is the scale at which your ticket will cost at the end of the season.
For season ticket holders, you're saying?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if they finish with between 60 and 65 points, it costs this much a game. If they finish with 66 to 70 points, it costs you this much per game. And the team's success is tied to the value of the ticket. So if you're a Southampton ticket holder and they blow chunks all year like this, then you're not actually on the hook for as much as you would have been at a flat rate before the season started. I could see that working.
Okay. All right. So
that's
fan
really
experience.
hitting those relegation teams where it hurts, though.
Yeah, that's fucking
that is cutthroat for
That's
you.
tough.
Yeah,
Those
it's
parachute
not like
payments.
the best teams need more money, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, it's just an interesting one, and I bet I'll get some comments on Instagram or Twitter from people who have a better.
People will love this, Sam.
So, see, yeah, there will be somebody who loves it. I hope.
Somebody.
Sure.
All right, we will move on to Premier League time. So I'm actually going to give Arsenal some compliments here. Like, looking back on the week of games. Listen, I feel more comfortable giving you compliments now that I feel confident in saying that you're probably not going to win the leagues. I feel way more better about this. But you guys actually had a really good week. You know, I mean, beating Chelsea handily, then going to Newcastle and winning, you know, decidedly in a fixture that Tottenham just literally got their asses handed to them in a historic fashion. I think it might have just sort of, I don't know, hammered home how really good Arsenal is this season. And yeah, you might not win the league because, you know, Pep and his petro billions, you know, they're just better than you. But like, it sort of just got me thinking. Maybe I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but where do you guys rank this Arsenal team when you think back to like Liverpool of the past however many seasons? You know, obviously not this season, not the season where they had all the injuries and they were fucked, but like, you know, this Liverpool team that you guys that we've come to think of in previous recent seasons.
Mitch, I'll let you tackle that.
What's the question?
How would this Arsenal fare if it was up against the Liverpool? Because I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take Man City.
That team got 100 points then.
True, one season, but like the take Man City out of the equation, right? They're a ridiculously good team.
I wish we could take them out of the equation.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, right? And they paid for it. And Pep, it's not easy to run a team with that many egos, and so we got to give them a little credit. But let's just remove them from the equation for a second. And then in my mind, okay, well, Liverpool is clearly the best team that we've seen in a while, right? How would this Liverpool team fare against them? Arsenal have been so consistent, with the exception of, you know, that maybe 2-week period, you know, that we just went through, that made my life, you know, immeasurably better. But outside of that, this team has been so consistent and really good. Where do you guys put this Arsenal team against that Liverpool team?
Still growing. This Arsenal team is. Mikey, I want to say you had a tweet that's like, this is not the ceiling for this group.
Youngest team in the Prem.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think if you take City out of the equation, you can't take their players out. I'm assuming some players get dispersed to us. Some players get dispersed to that very talented Liverpool team. And I would love a fantasy draft in which that happened, actually. But I think it would be much more of a 2-horse race, like year in and year out. I think Klopp would be more inclined to spend money if he had a direct rival that was going back and forth with on year to year, as opposed to just kind of the white whale that is City. I don't know. I'd like to say we would have won a title in the past 5 years if taking City out of the equation. This group would have won it this year if City was out of the equation, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. I think we play that hypothetical Liverpool team very well. I think that's like a tantalizing fixture, both home and away. Every single, like, that's must-see television.
Tell you what, if City aren't in the league, I think we had to really fucking suck for this generation of players to get the chance that they did. So I think there's an element where Saka and Martinelli aren't developed where they are if we were any good in the last 4 years. So
yeah, because we'd be buying players.
I like to think we're still trying to stopgap with quick fixes and buys, and we would have fired Arteta in December of 2021, and all this stuff wouldn't have happened if City hadn't been so distractingly good. They almost make the granular day-to-day a little less significant every time you have a decision to make about your team. Like, for example, losing this title race to anybody else would hurt 40 times more than it does with this going on. So in some ways, City's a good like pacing horse that doesn't bother anybody, and allows teams to kind of rebuild under the cover of darkness because they're so good. So I'm going to say that we'd be worse off if we didn't have City the last 5 years to get this project underway.
All right. Ever the optimist there, Mikey. Okay. I like your take, though. So it's not moving too far. Let's stick with Arsenal real quick. Obviously it's implausible, but it's not impossible for you guys to win the title, right? What has to happen? Give me a path that maybe
you want an after hours answer? Because I would say We Are Marshall has something to do with it. We're gonna
if that's your only thought, sure.
No, it's gonna have to be like the world's greatest spectacle with these two Madrid legs for them to genuinely like not care. Like it would have to be one of the most amazing things we've all witnessed over the course of 180 minutes to get their attention so firmly away from the weekend games. That's the only thing.
Even if that attention is completely diverted and they don't care, who do you see them dropping points to?
They're 22 deep. That's the problem. It's like guys are, I know. I guess that's the thing that they've learned over these years is how to build this team for this exact moment. So we're gonna see how this thing goes. I think that's all it would need to be though. It'd be so Brighton away. Who, by the way, doesn't look like a fortress today. Doesn't look exactly like a fortress. Also, I have a gripe to pick with the announcer being like, Arsenal fans are going to love this Everton result because they have City next. And it's like, do you think Everton can recreate this result?
No.
Arsenal fans are going to love to be let
What are you fucking talking about?
That was my thought too. Is like, well, they're going to come out absolutely flat.
Yeah, this means the opposite of what you think it means.
Sure. It also bought them a lot more breathing room. So whereas that City game wasn't going to be be all end all, the fact that Everton won that game against Brighton really gave them some extra sort of wiggle room.
Yeah,
that was.
So I think it's the Champions League. That's it. And then honestly, swear to God, I think it would be like a Sterling vengeance game or something crazy, like a 3-3 tie where he has a hat trick or something like that. Like
Mudryk really was undercover the entire time, puts up a hat trick and signs for Arsenal at the end of next season for less than the record fee that he was over there for. Chelsea hit and win at the right time with that big win to avoid relegation.
Yeah, what it really is, Sam, it's a draw with Chelsea and it's a loss at Brighton. Those are that's the realistic answer.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, shout out to Chelsea fans, by the way. I actually enjoyed
the dog shit season.
Terrible season, and the fact that they were cheering, that they're staying up in the facetious manner. I actually kind of thought that was one of the cooler things Chelsea fans have ever done. Obviously the bar is pretty low. Anything else on that? I don't think so. What about quickly some of the other? We're going to skip to the power rankings, which is now a power picks, because we're going to actually say who we think is going to stay up and go down. We're going to focus on the relegation battle, but also top four. We'll talk that quickly. But quickly, Tottenham won a game. Wow, shocking.
Holy shit.
What I want to hear from you guys though is, where do you think Kane's going to play next season?
I got deja vu to when we asked this last season.
Yeah, and we said the same thing, I think.
But things have gone downhill. Like last season, we had Conte and things were on the upswing, and it's like, okay, this feels.
Oh no, I thought he was going to United then.
So you still think United?
Yeah, I think he's going to United.
All right, Mitch.
I think he's staying in England.
Don't like that.
I haven't given it much thought. I really haven't. God, he's made such a life for himself at Spurs. Like, do trophies matter that much? Talk dirty to him, Mitch.
Do you want him to stay?
I don't know, but realistically, like, trophies don't matter to him. He's Damian Lillard. He loves it. He loves it there. And Oh God, I can't picture him anywhere else, so I can't like project him mentally anywhere else. But I think he's
Sam,
in England.
is he somebody you want to see the back of soon?
No,
Hmm.
no. I'm like pretty much everybody else on the team. I could be like, yeah, I could be okay, with them bouncing. Even Sonny, just the way he's played this season has been so
Sure.
bad. As much as I love him,
He's been really bad.
I really do think he's going to bounce back. But for whatever reason, this season's been just a lost one. Yeah, Kane, I love him. I love him. I know that he, people will find ways to dislike him and narratives, anti-Kane narratives. Liverpool fans have been doing that for years,
Oh,
with various things. But like, I just think he's just a great person and a great leader I mean, like, obviously this season raises questions about what's going on in the locker room, but until I hear it that he was not, that he was part of the problem, I just don't believe it.
accolades speak for themselves. That's all I'll say.
All the golden boots.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's probably just fear of the unknown, but like, he's an incredible player, and I don't think that we would be able to replace him with two people. And I don't, I have doubts about our ability to replace anybody with anybody at this point. So yeah, I'd rather just stick with the golden boot devil that I know, rather than going into the unknown. So let's do power rankings. And again, this is not power rankings, this is power picks.
Yeah.
So quickly on top four, really the only thing to talk about is whether Liverpool is going to catch United in your mind. What do you think?
It's a 1 point title gap, but okay.
That's the only thing we're talking about is fourth place.
I was wondering, are you going to let that slide or not?
All right.
Listen, let's just assume things go to chalk, and City, Arsenal, and Liverpool and City, Arsenal, and Newcastle finish 1-2-3.
I mean, it's coming together so perfectly, but the reason Harry Kane's going to leave Tottenham is because he doesn't want to spend Thursday nights in Azerbaijan. I seriously think you guys are going to finish seventh. I don't think Brighton get in. I don't think anything changes. I think United keep it. I think it's City, Arsenal, Newcastle, United.
Okay.
It's chalk.
All right. Mitch, any disagreement there?
Keep
in mind,
I'm looking at the
West
remainder.
Ham just beat United, right?
I'm looking at the remainder of United's schedule right now, and there's a draw in there somewhere. Whether it's Chelsea or Fulham, there's a draw in there. And Liverpool they need one good performance against Villa, and they're sitting pretty. I can see them overtaking it. I'm gonna say, yeah, Liverpool finished fourth.
I hope so.
The way they're playing right now. Yeah,
I might just tweet, "Are United in the title race?" every day from now.
I think I'm with Mitch on this one. I think I see Liverpool sliding by them.
I would love that.
United's dealing with injuries too.
Mm.
And obviously Rashford is not the Rashford of January and February. Yeah. It's funny. Liverpool's been so bad, and yet they might back their way into top four.
Yeah.
Now, relegation battle. This is getting interesting. This is getting really interesting at this point. I think at this point we're down to 5 teams for 3 spots. Would anybody disagree with that? Are we gonna say West Ham, Bournemouth, and Wolves? Well, Wolves, I think mathematically are out of it, but West Ham specifically they're almost mathematically eliminated from contention at this point. So basically 5 spots, 3 teams are going down. Right now we got Forest on 32 points. No, 33 points. Everton on 32. Leicester on 30. Leeds on 30. Southampton on 24. Oof. And this comes off of a huge Monday where these games were absolutely massive. Everton got a priceless win, which 5-1 on the road to Brighton. Good Lord, I did not see that.
The result of the season.
I mean, that's incredible. Nottingham Forest.
And they looked unbelievable too, by the way.
Everton or Forest?
Sharp,
They could have scored 10.
Everton or Forest?
Everton. Every time they went forward, they had a shot on target.
Yeah, McNeil at the end there.
I mean, I've known that Dwight McNeil under Sean Dyche, different player. Everyone needs to shut up.
It's true. So all these teams have 3 games left. Right now, Southampton is, pretty much dead in the water. That loss today against Nottingham Forest pretty much sealed their fate. They're gone. So now we're down to 4 teams and 2 slots. So any strong thoughts on who either stays or goes, Mitchell?
Leeds is gone.
Oh, I was going to say the other thing.
I want them up. I've been singing their praise all year because
I'm better to stay up right now.
Of how they represent U.S. soccer. They're gone now. I look at the rest of their schedule. I don't see any points there. Even to you guys in the last.
I was going to say last game of the season.
No,
I get to see us.
You guys could drop a stinker. Who knows? Always capable of it. But
you're not great in match week 38. I'll say that.
You're not great in 37, 36, 35, 34, 33. But you're right. Leeds, listen, when they go to West Ham, and this is their second game. So, I mean, they got a tough schedule. They got to they got to play Newcastle at home. But keep in mind, this is a Newcastle team that's basically got top 4 locked in. They don't have as much to play for. West Ham now is pretty much mathematically out of the relegation fight. So while those are tough games, they got 2 teams that don't necessarily have that much to play for. And then you got Tottenham, and God knows what we'll be playing for at that point. So
curious what the mentality is in the locker room of those mid-table teams towards the end of the season, where it's like, hey, nothing we do here today, whether we get smacked or smack, is going to make a difference as to, where we play in Europe or out of Europe. So I'm talking like your 10 through 15 spots. What's the message in the locker room there for that West Ham game? Like, hey, let's get out there and attack because we can't lose to a relegation team, or we have to get a result against them because we were there earlier in the season? Or is it like everybody don't get injured?
I think it boils down to individual performances and you trying to either impress your manager now or impress, your future club and manager. I think that's what it all boils down to.
See some young talent pop out and have themselves a moment these next 3 weeks.
Exactly. I think that's basically what it boils down to, because you're right. Teams like Palace and West Ham and Wolves, what exactly do they have on the line at this point?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. Mikey, any thoughts on the relegation battle here?
I really want Sam Allardyce to stay up. I think this is hilarious. I genuinely, and that's not just because Leeds United seem to have softened their relations with United States influencers, let's just say. I'm a big Leeds guy at this current moment because of Big Sam. I think it's hysterical, and as you know, I have a soft spot for like mid-90s sitcom stars that happen to coach soccer clubs. I think they're my favorite humans.
Very one-dimensional human beings.
Yeah, just fantastically simple. Like, what he's going to do when he comes in, right? First press conference, take the heat off the players. What am I going to say? I'm as smart as Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, I'm better than Klopp. I'm better than Pep.
Like, sir, this is a Wendy's. He's like going on about absolutely God knows what.
Football-wise, no one's better than me.
I'm not saying they're better. I'm not saying I'm better, but they're not past me. It's like, all right, we're all tied. I fucking love it. I seriously do. It's like the British I feel like they're fucking with him. You know what I mean? Like I something about British humor makes me think that this can't be serious and that I have to be in on the joke and like it too. So
this is like a Cal the Dragon type situation with him.
It's exactly like that, where I think that they're laughing at Sam, not with him.
And yet, I mean, he's laughing his ass all the way to the bank, right?
Yeah, and he's
500,000 for like 5 weeks of work, and if he keeps him up, he gets like 2 million. Good Lord!
There's no way he learns every player's name. I'm being dead serious.
He's going to do numbers. He's going to call everybody by their number. 100%.
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Southampton's gone.
Yeah.
that game today suggests to me that Leicester's gone. That performance was terrible, and like the post game, interviews with guys like Madison, he just seemed like, I have no idea what's going on, and we suck, and I have no answers for it, and like, because when the commentators or whatever, the news people, Big J's, asked Decore after the Everton game, what was the game plan, and he was very clear in what Dyche was telling them. Right, we're going to clog up the middle, try and make them play outside, and just play Dyche ball, right? And then I saw Madison was asked the same question. He didn't have an answer. He's like, I don't know, things didn't go the way we thought they were going to go, or something. It's just like, it just seems like, Leicester they're just flailing at this point. And keep in mind, this is a team that won the Premier League. Like, I know that everybody knows that, but just think about that. 8 years ago, they were winning the Premier League, and now they're going to be sent down. That is absolutely crazy. The highs and the lows for the fan base is wild. Part of me, like, just this little part of me somewhere deep down in my soul, kind of like wants just a little bit of that. let me feel something as a fan, instead of just like abject disappointment week after week and year after year. But no,
not Harry Kane.
Yeah, listen, he's got a family and he's happy there. Yeah, so I think Leicester's gone. So then it comes down to Forest, Everton, and Leeds for me. I think I said this last week that I really thought Forest was gonna, I feel like Forest just didn't get a fair shake this season, right?
That's front three is so good.
Right, they're not bad at all.
Look, those two finishes today, it was
It
was like a slick game, but man,
the Gibbs White assist was,
that assist by Gibbs White was like, oh my God, that is beautiful. Went exactly where he wanted to go. Yeah, the defense has just been an absolute clown show, but they've also been dealing with so many injuries this season. And you already were going to have to deal with this influx of however many dozens of new players. And then you got the injuries on top of it. It just feels like Forest got a raw deal after, not being in the Premier League for so long. And so I would have said that I think that they're going to go down, just dealing with all the shit they've had to deal with. But that win today,
they have two. Actually, I wouldn't mind getting Danilo at the carpet.
So I don't. This win today, I don't know if I can say that anymore. And then we're down to Everton and Leeds, and
I'll say Forest have not the easiest of schedules remaining.
Yes, I think that's worth pointing out. I don't think they're safe by any means. I do think that they're absolutely in it. And
I can see winning the next three games. Like,
who?
I always have in my head that Leicester can win any game. I know it's Liverpool, Newcastle. I look at the 11s, and I think I've said this a million times on this program. They always put up a strong combined 11 in any match, and they just can't perform.
Yeah. If you look at their team, how is this team?
But if they're the team in 18th, if I'm Everton or Forest, I'm shitting until 38.
Yep.
They have it in them. So
I guess I'm gonna stick with the team I said before and say Forest go down, just based on the difficulty of their remaining schedule. But this game today really shook my faith in that as a possibility. And basically, if you really put a gun to my head, I would have to say Leeds at this point. Like, I just would have to. But I'm not capable of saying that. I'm officially not willing to go on record as saying that. But goddamn, they got a tough go. Whew. All right. Quickly. So what do we got looking at? What are we looking at this weekend in the Premier League? Any games? What are the games that are going to be most intriguing?
I mean, the title's already locked up. I guess we don't have to watch Everton hosting City, huh, Sam?
Exactly. That's what I'm glad we're all on the same page. But listen, it is Everton hosting City, but I still think that they're going to get. I think
this is not a great weekend.
No, Villa Tottenham would have been good, except for Tottenham stinks. Leicester Liverpool. I mean, listen, there's games with obviously some huge implications, right? Leeds, all the teams we just talked about, all five of them: Leicester, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Everton. Well, actually, no. We can throw Southampton out. 4 teams. Every game they play from now on is going to be huge. My pick of the weekend, though, I guess it's going to be Leeds, Newcastle, just because they need to win that game. I think that, and I do think they could get a result out of that. Newcastle doesn't have much to play for. Saturday, 6:30 a.m. That game is always a weird result. I don't know. I guess that could be my game. Anybody? What
Leads
game?
to me historically, like Mikey, you said, Leicester can win against anybody. Leeds to me can score against anybody, but can't get a result against everybody. You know, they're
Big
always
Sam. Big Sam.
well, yeah,
Big difference.
I love that means nothing and everything at the same time.
I know. Oh, when he's gonna be out there chewing his gum and yelling numbers at everybody.
It means nothing. Big fan.
I mean, I guess. Well, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Leeds Newcastle as my game.
United Wolves will have crazy implications for that top four.
Yeah, I think Wolves are done.
I don't think United drop points, but
yeah, I think Wolves are.
You couldn't make me watch that game if you had a gun.
I mean, Arsenal, Brighton, especially after Brighton just shit the bed as bad as they did.
You know what this game is, Sam? One of my classic, very visually aesthetic games.
Oh yeah, okay, blue and red.
Nice handsome blue. We better wear those home reds.
I know. Okay. I have a game of the week. It's very clearly Everton City. I think Everton have a very obvious and effective Route 1 counter strategy that is, I mean, coming off today, awesome to see. Could they? Should they?
I'm not willing to call it the game of the week because that admits that like City may actually drop points, and I'm not willing to go there. But you have a very strong argument that that's an intriguing game early on Sunday.
Yerry Mina is going to have Haaland in his pocket.
Yeah, right. Keep telling yourself
he's a presence today. You can't a nice early yellow card for him and everything.
Got one of them in him every
center back's performance.
All right. Yeah, that'll be a good game. Let's move on. Let's do rest of world real quick. So championship checkup. So we it's been a while since we talked about championship. We talked about it last week though. And this final day of games on Monday morning, everybody played at 9 a.m. was absolutely bonkers. It was impossible to basically follow all the games, but that mattered. But there were about 4 or 5 of them in the playoff race to get the, to lock in either 5th or 6th, I believe, were the places that were really up for grabs. And it was going back and forth. I think Millwall basically had a lock on a spot, but then they somehow, and I think it was at home, lost at home to Blackburn 4-3 in a crazy game, which knocked them out of the playoff. And I know, Mikey, you just died to talk about Brereton, or whatever his name is, Benjamin Brereton, the Argentinian or Chilean.
I'm a huge fan of appropriation, my friend.
You kind of look like him, though, don't you?
God, I hope not.
I feel like you might. I don't know where I came up with that. But so Middlesbrough and Luton locked in their spots in the standings. Also, Coventry, with that draw on the road to Middlesbrough, they locked in number 5. And then the 6th spot was like, it came down to goal difference. So Sunderland was drawing 0-0 on the road at halftime of their game today. And so at Preston. And so I actually have a big Sunderland fan who's a friend, and he was like, he was all depressed. He's like, listen, there's too many things that need to fall into place. There's no way this is happening. And then that second 45 minutes where Blackburn started scoring goals, Sunderland scored 3 goals in the second half. Everything fell into place, and Sunderland jumped however many teams and jumped into that final playoff spot. So the playoffs are now set. Luton Town 3rd, Middlesbrough 4th, Coventry 5th, Sunderland 6th. And it's Heartbreak Hotel for Blackburn, Millwall, West Brom. I think were the teams that really had a shot at it. So that brings us to the playoffs. And now we've got home and homes before they make their way to Wembley for the richest game in soccer. So what I'm going to ask you guys is to pick pick your fighter. Which of the championship teams are you on? I'll go first. I'm big on Sunderland, right? I mean, it's not just the Sunderland Till I Die, which was awesome and was so depressing that it's hard not to feel for those fans and root for them. I know that they were not expecting to be in the playoff this season. I think they feel like maybe this is a season or two ahead of the sort of grand plan. But after the finally escaping League One last season, I think that this was supposed to be like a establish yourself in the championship season. The fact they got to the championship playoff is incredible. And I said it last week, they've lost some of their top scorers, and the fact they've still kept on keeping on is awesome. So I'm rooting for Sunderland. Shout out Declan's Dave, who is my big Sunderland fan friend. So I'm all in on the Black Cats. Who you got, Mitch?
I don't keep up with the championship as much as I should, so take this with a grain of salt. But I also watch Sunderland Till I Die. I'm gonna hop on that Sunderland bandwagon. I don't really feel strongly unless it's Luton. I have a online enemy who's an avid Luton supporter. And this is a guy that I've been going back and forth with for years now. Like he might as well be the godfather of my kids. Like I really don't like this guy.
Have you ever met him in person?
No, God, no. I don't even know what his face looks like. He doesn't have a profile picture. It's just me and him back and forth. It's spanned across multiple platforms, across multiple years, multiple presidential administrations. Like this dude and I have a deep hatred for one another. And he's a Luton fan. So I am avidly preying on Luton's downfall.
Hey, wow, that's incredible. As like sort of my Watford experiences. I like was
hate Jack.
I was taught to hate Luton Town, but then I learned more about them and like how quickly they've risen up through the ranks and sort of how they've done it basically with chewing gum and twine. Essentially, it's pretty impressive. But I like your hatred. I respect your hatred of Jack. Mikey, who you got?
It's Middlesbrough for me. Chuba Akpom, Arsenal legend, and by legend I mean was loaned out like 7 times. Most notably to Greece. He's got 28 goals in the championship this year. After scoring, I think 3 last year in Greece. He's had some injury problems. Just a great story, great guy to root for. Somebody who came to the Arsenal Academy that I think Arsenal fans should be able to get behind. Chuba Akpom used to be the first guy you loaned into your club when you started with a second division club in FIFA Manager mode. Just a legend in my book. Somebody I gotta find easy to root for. I need 2 more goals to get us to 30 and get you into the Prem, Chuba. Keep it going.
All right. So we got 1 Borough and 2 Sunderland. Sounds good. I mean, these games are going to be, they're white knuckle, and my Declan's Dave says that we're going to Wembley if Sunderland makes it. So.
Wembley.
Oh boy, we'll see. Champions League. Well, we're down to the sharp end of the stick here, boys. Semifinals. We got City and Real Madrid, and then of course the Inter Milan. Well,
what a
Milan.
Ridiculous semifinal.
Just absolutely crazy. Well, let's start with the sort of higher profile, Real Madrid and Manchester City. Now, obviously, everybody knows everything about these teams, right? Manchester City is the best team money can buy. Real Madrid never, ever lose in Champions League. So, Mikey, who you got here?
City.
In just a walkover, like
I think they should have won. I think they should have won last season. I think Rodrigo pulled. I can't even think of the eloquent enough words to describe what happened at the end of that fixture last year. I think they're going to take care of it pretty comfortably. I really do.
I agree with you, and yet I just can't say those words because Real Madrid have made me look like an idiot so many times.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet my Vinicius assist Ben's goal that has profited me so much money as a.
That's a beautiful, consistent one there.
I have been hitting that, and they've been playing on the same match week as of Kvaratskhelia and of Seaman, so I've been putting them together. And I've been having a good time with those four, but we're not going to bet it this time. We're not.
Okay. What do you think, Mitch?
That's ensuring that's going to hit. I also think City take care of it. There's no beast like Real Madrid in the Champions League, and I think City have shown that when they concede this season, it's been on the counter, and there's nobody quicker on the counter than a man named Vinicius. But I just don't see City not taking care of it with the quality they have. And this is not even me being biased and wanting them to go as deep as possible and then lose in the final. I really think they take care of business. I don't think it's an easy game, though. I think both teams score. If you're looking to throw some money down, it's a fun one. City win 2-1.
I think so. The way it goes, so Real Madrid is hosting the first leg and then City hosts. I think that actually favors City because I think both teams will probably come out a little, more defensive, a little more conservative
right
in the first game, and then the second game being at City, I think definitely helps City in this. I wouldn't mind to see City just lose. I would absolutely love it. if they then have only the Premier League to keep them interested.
No.
I would absolutely love that. I will be rooting quietly because I don't know. I just never really root for, teams against the Premier League in a strange way in the Champions League, unless it's Arsenal. But when's the last time you guys played in Champions League?
Shut up.
That was right.
I do think City, I don't think it's going to be a walkover. I don't think they're going to do what they did to Bayern. I think Real Madrid, I don't know. They're just Real Madrid in Champions League. But I got City. What about the Milan derby?
I have Inter Milan. I have an Inter Milan future that I placed 2 rounds ago when I saw this draw. They've been beating everybody. They've been playing head to head. I like them to walk through this one
easily.
Walk through.
Yeah, I do. I think that they. I'm going to go 4-1 on Ag.
Okay. I mean, Milan's been playing, better recently.
I like Inter. I like the way they're coming into form right now. They're playing Lautaro for 90 and subbing Dzeko and Lukaku in on that spots. I think Mkhitaryan is a super, super creative player for them right now. Works both ways. One of my bets, I think I'm going to have him to score or assist in one of these legs here. Çalhanoğlu, obviously the world's biggest fucking villain in that city, is in the right place, I think, right now. Brahim Diaz isn't going to recreate what he did over 2 legs against Napoli in this fixture.
Yeah, so that's what sort of has me hesitant because I think Inter's a better team, more complete team. But the way that AC Milan played Napoli 3 different times over the course of
handily 3 times.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, they drew once.
Right.
Though, they
didn't need it.
Yeah, they didn't need to win that one. That one sort of has me feel a little hesitant about going all in on Inter. But I definitely think Inter's a better team. So that'd be my pick. Mitch, where are you going with that one?
I want to oppose, but I'm gonna agree. Inter haven't conceded in a while. I mean, I look at the lineups on paper. Inter's out of a combined 11, 8, 9 of them might be Inter players. They look so dominant when they play too. I think it's Inter.
Okay. All right, so we will then wrap up this rest of world segment with a quick note on MLS. We don't have Mr. Hit it and quit it Minuteman, but we do have to at least acknowledge the fact that Bloody Monday occurred here in MLS, where we lost multiple managers in the very short time. So Ezra Hendrickson was let go from Chicago Fire, and Struber is out at New York Red Bull. So, the situation with Struber at Red Bull is complicated. They went through this, rather ugly racial situation. And strangely enough, the club came out and said that actually did not play a role in him getting let loose or getting sent packing, which, talk about a PR blunder. Even if he was, why do you even say that? But so I don't really know the situation. I know that they've been kind of stinking and their offense is terrible. But their defense was doing pretty well. I know that they're at the bottom of the league. So, if it's just a straight results thing, I guess they're, you can see why. But that whole situation, involving their DP is just so ridiculous. Then on the Chicago front, so I mean, like, I had Ezra on the program. Like, he just seems like the nicest dude you could ever meet, and everybody said the same thing about him. But if you look at the results, they just have been, disappointing across the board. And I think the real problem for him was the fact that it seemed like the second half performances have been really bad, and they've given up so many leads. It's become like just an absolute meme narrative that we've laughed about it on the program a lot. And at the end of the day, it's tough to keep your job when that just keeps happening. So hopefully Frank Klopas, who's he's been the coach before, hopefully he steps in, he knows everybody, hopefully he gets them on the right track. There is some talent there. And maybe they bring a DP in the summer, and hopefully it is, onwards and upwards. That's my optimistic take. Okay, now we will wrap this up with stoppage time. We will start with best bets, and before Ivan Toney's best bets. And before we actually get to it, quick little pat on the back right here for my picks last week. So I said Dundee United in Queens Park on Friday. That game was 3-3. City leads 2-1, and then Dortmund Wolfsburg 6-0. Not so bad for you, boy. I lost every bet on the horsies and made a little bit of it back on the soccer games. So best bets, Ivan Toney's best bets. Who wants to go first here? Mitchell or Mikey, whoever wants to go for it.
This is really tough because I'm gonna, man. I really want to go out on a limb here, but I think I'm gonna take Getafe to get a result against Madrid on Saturday, because that league is out of their question, and I don't think they're gonna I think that Ancelotti's actually gonna rest. So if you bet it now before the City game, I think you'll get a result there. And I think Nottingham Forest away to Chelsea win and secure themselves. So I like both of those bets. Take them individually, though. I don't think I feel confident about them together. So
okay, well, listen, you're going long shots there. I like it. Mitchell, what do you got first?
I also like that Chelsea Forest game. We've got Chelsea in fine form, perfect time of the season.
They scored 3 goals.
I know,
really coming into shape.
Both teams to score. Chelsea Forest.
Love that.
Forest has been a sieve back there, and Chelsea are. This is, like you said earlier, this is a bit of a showcase for those big name signings to just tally up some meaningless goals. Give me Joao Felix to score, give me Mudryk to score, all the dudes that have just not shown up all season, flooding goals against Forest. And then I like Fulham money line against Southampton. I'm sorry, yes, Fulham money line against Southampton. That's which is still plus money, which is crazy high.
They should be dead. They're dead and buried.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
so
gone.
Plus 415 if you put them together.
I like it. I'm always a big fan of motivation picks and what teams actually have something to play for. And I agree. I think Southampton is dead. I'm going to stick with the overstrain here. Listen, it's working for me. I'm not fixing what ain't broke. I tried to find a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 fixtures, but I didn't like anything on Friday. So I'm giving you 2 for Saturday and 1 for Sunday. Saturday, we got in the A-League, we got Adelaide United and Central Coast Mariners. They've already played 2 games this season. They are averaging 4.5 goals a game against one another. There's always a ton of goals in these games. Adelaide and Central Coast, they also, score and give up a fair amount of goals. So Saturday, Adelaide United, Central Coast Mariners. Also on Saturday, Dortmund and Gladbach. So Dortmund, we've talked about, so they're in this title race. They clearly have a lot of motivation. They just put up 6 on Wolfsburg, and Wolfsburg was hot coming into that game. So I like Dortmund to put up some goals. Gladbach can score on anybody as well. I like goals in that game on Saturday. And then finally on Sunday, we're going over to Belgium. where Union Saint Gilloise is hosting Genk. And I think that goal, both those teams score a bunch of goals.
Union scored 4 twice in a row here, I think.
Exactly. Both those. Listen, the Belgian.
Why do I know that?
How do you know that? I thought I was the only degenerate that knew that sort of stuff.
I'm not even betting on them, which is like 40 times worse.
See, that is even weirder. So yeah, listen, that Belgian, the teams at the top of the league this season have been scoring left and right. So I'm going USG and Genk as my final over. All right. Final segment, everybody's favorite.
Oh, hell yeah.
Go as time. Go as Mikey, I feel like you have teased this before. So what are you gonna start us off with?
Hang on, I need a second to find it. So there's a guy that I didn't know existed. I wish I had taken my time and gotten this ready. Okay, hang on. There's a manager on Newcastle, and people are going to be screaming while I'm looking for this.
I know who you're talking about. Their assistant manager.
Yeah, I did not know this existed. So Jason Tyndall. Yeah. I thought this was weird when it happened. So Arteta goes to shake hands post the Newcastle match, and the Newcastle assistant with his nose up is the first one to shake his hand. And I find on Twitter this account called Jason Tyndall Desperate to be Center of Attention. And it has months worth of him intercepting handshakes with managers, standing in the center of team photos in the locker rooms.
That's the one.
This guy, I swear to God, how this has been happening for 36 match weeks without me knowing about it. This hits my funny bone like directly to a T. Fucking get your paper, get your spotlight, Jason Tyndall. I don't care, man. You live once. He looks like such a smug prick in this photo, if you know what I'm talking about, too. That is my Goa. He is why Goas exist. This
so
guy
true.
is
it's so true.
Outrageous.
I love it. I'm so glad you brought that up, and I'm actually just disappointed in myself for not thinking of this. Because did we talk about this today? Because I just read about this guy today, Jason Tyndall. And
no, I just saw it on Twitter. He's legitimately in the center of every team photo in the locker room.
It's amazing. It's amazing. He puts himself directly in the center of all those team photos that Newcastle does. And yeah, the one where he walked ahead of Howe to shake Arteta's hand was like, I think everybody was kind of like, what the fuck is that? But here's actually the other backstory on him is that he's been with Howe for years, going back into Bournemouth to his Bournemouth time. So like this guy, and he like stands in the coach's area with Howe like almost all the time. It's so strange. And the way most managers have pretty big egos, and they would absolutely not let their second guy do that. So I don't know what that says about Eddie Howe. Like it's weird.
I just sent one to the WhatsApp group that is preposterous. If you haven't looked at this account, everybody needs to do that. And Sam, that doesn't surprise me at all. Eddie Howe doesn't seem like a very give a shit about that guy, which is why I think he's so likable. Yeah. For every hero, there's an anti-hero, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe he's the bad cop to Eddie Howe's good cop in their coaching dynamic. That's a great goal. Great shout out. Well done, Mikey. Mitchell, you got anything for us?
That is a great goal. I'm scrolling through that account right now. That's incredible.
It's amazing. It goes back months and months and months.
This guy has some dedication, and it's about time this account got some shine.
Mine is Shaka. Not the one that wears red, though. It's Taulant Xhaka. Shaka's brother, who received a yellow card earlier in the game, and then went full Zinedine Zidane, received a second yellow after his headbutt, was dismissed from the field, was in the tunnel. Referee called him back out and said, no, come back out here. VAR review. Goes steps back onto the field. Referee gives him a straight red for violent conduct. Only brought him out of the tunnel after his second yellow to say, no, that wasn't severe enough. You need a straight red. It's just the most on brand for a Shaka brother I could imagine.
It's perfect. And it's actually slightly more dramatic than you're even saying, because the ref actually takes the yellow card and he waves it off. and Xhaka thinks that he's actually going to get back in the game, and the ref is like, no, you're straight red. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
It's just, that was an amazing sequence.
I am gonna have to look that up. That's pretty good.
That's what Goes is all about, you guys. You guys brought the thunder this week. So I had a couple written down. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Olympiacos, because this is the team that the owner of Nottingham Forest also owns. They've got a lot of players that they've sent back and forth. This Greek shipping magnate, doesn't sound shady at all, I'm sure. He owned Olympiacos. He recently bought Nottingham Forest. He brought in all these dozens and dozens of new players for Forest. Obviously big ambitions, but I guess he sort of keeps his crazy back in Greece. And the stuff going on at Olympiacos, and actually it's not just Olympiacos, this is the Greek league, is bonkers. It's like there's so much suggestions of bias and referee, problems that for the last few months, or maybe all season, they've been flying in referees from other countries. UEFA has said, okay, we'll let you bring in referees from, I think Michael Oliver was there. I think like German referees. They've been flying these referees in from other European countries because the Greek, owners and whatever are accusing everybody, all the other owners, of basically paying off the referees. So basically it's just like this, one big, clown show. And this past week, I think it was a German referee. It was in a derby between Olympiacos and AEK, the Athens team. And, there's a late penalty. Olympiacos went absolutely berserk. The Nottingham Forest / Olympiacos owner was like encouraging people, like fans, to rush the field. Yes. It was just absolutely crazy. I mean, the drama going on in Greek soccer and Turkish soccer and Argentinian soccer.
We didn't
even mention the Super Classico with,
oh shit.
Yeah, because that was just a normal Super Classico.
Right, because that was just normal. That was just par for the course in Argentina. But like this referee was like hounded. Apparently he got back to the little referee's room after the game and somebody hit him in the nuts. Like, it's just like so then UEFA then said, okay, well, we're done sending referees to Greek matches for understandable reasons. Just wild. And also quick shout out to the PGMOL, the referee association in the Premier League. They and the Premier League announced plans to, I think they're going to do a one-off TV episode where they're going to like reveal referee and VAR communications, which is a great start. But why not just do that all the time? It's like,
well, because they need a month. They need to get. Yeah,
it's such an easy win.
4 years to get 60 minutes worth of content here.
It's such an easy win. Listen, the fans deserve it.
No, it's a smart programming decision. Mitch and I are from the world of this, and when it is a whole different ball game to broadcasting that conversation and curating 1 60-minute segment here. We're not talking about accountability, but here we're talking about PR.
Yeah,
that's using all parts of the animal when it comes to your own IP too. It's creative, but it's good.
It's good.
I'm interested to see, are they going to make characters and celebrities out of these referees going forward more than they already are?
I was going to say, we feel like that ship has left.
Right, we know, but there is another level to it, right? Letting these guys talk is dangerous. Not actually. I let them talk. But the more they talk, the more we talk about what they say, and the more, celebrity they garner. And after a little while, it's like, oh, Anthony Taylor's legend precedes him before a match, and it's more about him than it is the match. And we know that is the case for some referees, but I'm just interested to see where they'll cap it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I just thought of it. That's a great point. I just thought of it. Well, at least it's sort of moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's in good faith.
But you're right. The more of this they do, the greater the risk, shall we say, of the next Mike Dean merging with the uncontrollable ego and everything that came along with it. So yeah, it's a fair point. But I figured I'd point that out. Well done, guys. As always, thank you for hopping on. You guys are the best. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you guys next week.